Welcome to Decor and Design as Easy as Mine. Today I'm going to talk about extending the life of an old armchair. For me, this presented a dilemma. Should I upholster it or not? What would it cost? Will the webbing need replacing? Why can I just not leave it outside for someone to pick up and forget about the whole matter? I just didn't have enough answers for these questions. There was no real plan on how to approach this challenge. I decided that it needed reupholstery and went to a local shop to find suitable fabric. Then I asked for a quote from the upholsterer that I had found. It was clear that I would have to think about the decor of the whole room where the armchair was located at some stage. Most of us are overwhelmed by these hurdles and drop the idea of refurbishing. When I considered the cost of replacing it, I knew that cost was very prohibitive. I thought about painting certain parts of the chair in gold. That is not the best idea. Ideally, the painting should be done before the reupholstery, I learned later. But I had to devise a plan to overcome my ad hoc approach to this project. I did know that the bed in the room where the chair was located required a headboard. I told myself I would attend to that later when the budget permitted. As I mentioned earlier, my latest project was an old armchair. This was a 40-year-old armchair that had a pink Draylon upholstery. The webbing on the seat needed replacing. The wood was in reasonable condition for its age. The back of the chair was also in reasonable condition. However, the color was dated and the legs were scratched and dented by the use of the broom or the vacuum cleaner. Something needed to be done to make it more appealing to the eye and to make it more comfortable. I did confess earlier that I had not thought through clearly enough the full ramifications of this task that I was undertaking. If I had, I would have considered the fabric that would complement the rest of the room. However, with the benefit of hindsight, these were the fabrics that I eventually used. When you consider reupholstery, my tip would be that you go to the shop of the upholsterer to view the quality of the work completed. Avoid upholstery brokers, who are persons who advise on the process, try and sell you fabric from their limited range at high cost, and then charge a high rate as a go-between. Their estimate of the length of the fabric required was around 40% higher than actually required. I got my estimates from the upholsterer himself. This clip confirms my haphazard planning. As you can see, that I painted the chair after it had been reupholstered. Extra care was now required as the possibility of paint spillage was now higher both on the chair and the floor. I used plastic cut from a bin liner to cover strategic areas in the chair with lots of newspaper on the floor. As I described in the pedestal video, I used the dipped in gold pattern on the legs of the chair because they were damaged through the years. I also expanded on my initial idea to include the arms, which were seriously scratched, and the upper portion of the back of the chair, the crown, with my gold painting. So to complete the task, I required methylated spirits fine sandpaper, a paintbrush, a water-based gold metallic paint for decor and furniture, masking tape and a putty knife, furniture polish, and a tape measure. Before I began masking off strategic areas that I was going to paint gold, I wiped down all of the wood with methylated spirits to remove years of grit and grime. Next, I masked the legs of the chair with masking tape, that's the front and the back, after using my tape measure to measure 10 centimeters from the base of each leg. I repeated this process for the back legs. I then sandpapered the masked area and painted it with gold furniture or decor paint. I gave it at least 3 coats after each coat had dried. This was the easiest part of the task, as the rest required patience, skill, and great awareness of possible damage I could do to the chair now that it had been reupholstered. In masking the right armrest, which was damaged through the years with scratches, I was acutely aware that it was not going to be easy. I tore off a strip of masking tape and pushed the sticky side under the upholstered section. Then I inserted the side of the plastic on the rest of the available sticky side. Through trial and error, I eventually did manage to protect the arm from paint spills. The most difficult section was near the seat and the lower portions of the arm. My advice would be paint before reupholstery. The left armrest was more damaged than the other. I approached the masking with the same caution as before. I then sandpapered and painted the arms with 3 coats of gold paint after each coat was dry. The real test of my patience was to come later: how to take off the masking tape. After observing my work critically, I realized that the upper portion of the chair also needed attention. I found the middle portion of the top of the chair by using my tape measure. Again, the masking provided a test of my determination to get it right. I forced the sticky part between the wood and the upholstery fabric, with the rest tacked onto the plastic. Then I sandpapered the tape section and painted it following the same steps as I did for the legs and the arms. If you have followed my video clips on the pedestals of the clock, I advise that one needs to be patient when taking off the masking tape the next day. I also advised that the tape should be pulled away slowly and away from the painted areas. This was easier said than done because the masking tape on the fabric was now firmly stuck. So I wedged my putty knife between the upholstery and the painting and slowly pulled out the masking tape. There was some damage to the painted surface. I used a small brush with a little gold paint and touched up the areas where the paint was torn. Again, my advice would be paint before upholstery. When the masking tape was taken off, the transformation was remarkable, as the painted surfaces reflected on the goldish thread on the fabric of the upholstery. The chair was relocated to its rightful place, where it dominated with its spectacular new look. In time, I then completed the rest of the room with fabric to complement the pillows and headboard. So let me remind you of what it looked like before. The dipped in gold look has transformed this chair into a real throne. Thank you.